Well, once again, welcome. Welcome to downtown Middletown. It's an exciting day for us here in the city of Middletown for the Barone family. But before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge some of the dignitaries that are here with us today. I know Assemblywoman Gunther is here, along with some of our members of our common council, Alderman Joe Massey, our council president Miguel Rodriguez, Andrew Green, our council person, Chief Iwanchu, Middletown Police Department, and I want to thank all members of law enforcement who are here today on behalf of your respective communities. Middletown is home to an exceptional group of New Yorkers, and Officer Evan Barone represents the best of the best. We are proud to have him among our ranks, not only as an officer of the law, but as a member of our community. I want to thank Officer Barone and his family for the sacrifices they made to keep us safe, as well as Governor Hochul and Lieutenant Governor Delgado for recognizing Officer Barone's valiant act. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the former Secretary of State. That's when I met Commissioner Rosado. We have a relationship going back to 2016, as her first act of Commissioner of the Department of State was to deliver to the city of Middletown a check for $10 million as part of the DRI. And she's been a friend to our community since. We've worked very closely on many projects. So I would like to welcome Commissioner Rosado to the place. Thank
you. Thank you, Mayor. It's always great to be back in Middletown, especially for this ceremony celebrating Officer Evan Barone and his family and colleagues, and our Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado. Happy to have you here with us. The New York State Police Officer Medal of Valor, also known as the Governor's Police Officer of the Year Award, was first presented in 1984. It recognizes a single police officer or a team of officers for an exceptional act of valor. Since its inception, 122 officers from 21 agencies across the state, including Officer Barone, have been presented with this award. My agency, the State Division of Criminal Justice Services, coordinates the work of the selection committee, which reviews nominations submitted by police departments and sheriff's offices. Committee members represent statewide associations representing law enforcement and unions. So thank you to State Police Troop F Major Paul DeQuarto for representing Acting Superintendent Stephen Negrelli here today and being here on behalf of other committee members. Each year, the committee has a difficult choice to make. 10 agencies nominated 30 officers for the 2020 award. Officer Barone's bravery, courage, and selflessness stood out among those nominees. I'm honored to be here to recognize him and to proudly introduce Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado. Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado was sworn in earlier this year. It's been some year. After serving as U.S. Representative from New York's 19th Congressional District since 2018. We are thrilled to have his partnership in the work that DCJS does across the board, from law enforcement to engaging with communities. He grew up in Schenectady and lives in Rhinebeck. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to the 77th Lieutenant Governor of the State of New York, Antonio Delgado.
Good morning. Good morning. Commissioner, thank you very much for your leadership. It's a real pleasure to be in Middletown with you on this very special occasion. A special occasion indeed. I do want to also acknowledge Assembly Member Aileen Gunther for being here. Mayor, always good to see you. Chief, we want you, thank you for being here. To the entire all the members of the Middletown Police Department, thank you. Appreciate all the work that you do day in and day out, keeping our communities safe and protected. And of course, Officer Barone, man of the hour here, and rightfully so, and your family, your mother, Kathy, your father, Sam. Thank you. brother Eric, fiance, Kate, all of you. It is good to be with you as we come together and rightfully honor your son's service, incredible service. 3 years into the job, Officer Barone was patrolling one evening as part of the department's neighborhood enhancement unit. It's important to note that the officer enhancement unit, the neighborhood enhancement unit, what this unit does, in particular what Officer Barone was doing, is interacting with the public, knocking on doors, checking in with neighbors to foster a better relationship with officers in the community, real community-based policing. And while in his patrol car, Officer Barone was flagged down by a woman seeking help in a domestic incident. The woman told Officer Barone that her ex-boyfriend was inside her home and armed with a gun and refused to leave. And within 25 seconds of talking to the woman, Officer Barone came under fire as her ex-boyfriend burst through the front door of the home and onto the porch, firing a 9mm handgun. The bullet passed through Officer Barone's left arm, permanently damaging a nerve and shattering a bone, and then struck him in the chest where it was stopped by his body armor carrier. Officer Barone fired back, hitting the shooter before he could fire again. Notably, while all this was happening, there was a car with children inside, just behind Officer Barone. Despite taking fire and being wounded, Officer Barone secured custody of the gunman, protecting the woman with whom he was speaking and several children and adults nearby. Officer Barone then radioed for help, applied a tourniquet to his own wound to control the bleeding, and waited for medical assistance. This was a vicious attack on a police officer who bravely stood his ground, protecting bystanders from harm, and then applying his own tourniquet and subduing the shooter while being severely injured. Incredible. Incredible work. And this is why we are here, to present Officer Barone with the 2020 Police Officer Medal of Valor. The first, if I'm not mistaken, right, the first officer from the Middletown Police Department to receive this honor. It's also my understanding, I believe, Sam, you shared this with me earlier, that Officer Barone wanted to be a police officer for as long as you can remember. Then you dream. You're a hell of a police officer. You clearly love the work of protecting and serving the public. And it is that love that makes you great at what you do. And we are grateful for you and for what you represent. The job is a dangerous one. It takes a selfless spirit and a brave heart. Our police officers give comfort and security to neighborhoods and communities everywhere. They create a sense of order, and with it, freedom, born of that knowing protection. And they offer their own lives in order to save the lives of others. And we must never forget that, and be sure to appreciate, uplift, and honor that commitment to service. Officer Barone, you are an incredible example of that commitment and exemplify it at the highest level. Your state and your community owe you a deep debt of gratitude. And I personally want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for shining the example that you are, and thank you for loving what you do. And God bless. Thank you.
Other side. There you go.
And that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Let's finish the program, then you can.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm incredibly grateful, not only for this amazing, prestigious, honorable award, but grateful to be alive. Plenty to thank for that. The farm instructors, the reality-based training, FTOs along the way. Without them, I don't think I'd be here. Everyone, from the city of Middletown to the Special Police Department, to my family, friends, family, Kate, love you. Thank you for always standing by me and having my back from the beginning and supporting me. Thank you.
Good morning. I'd like to start by thanking Lieutenant Governor Delgado, Commissioner Rosado, Mayor Stefano, and all of our other distinguished guests and visitors for joining us here at the Paramount this morning. This award is a remarkable achievement and honor, and not only for Evan, but for our entire department, as we can formally recognize the outstanding courage, bravery, valor that Evan displayed on August 29, 2020. Since I took over as Chief of Police, my worst nightmare has always been getting a telephone call that one of my officers has been hurt serving our city. We all know that police work can be a very dangerous job, but I have worked with my staff to do everything possible to ensure that our officers have the best training and all of the right tools to do their job effectively. One of my biggest concerns has always been to make sure that all of our officers go home safely at the end of every tour. Unfortunately, on August 29, 2020, that didn't happen. Evan wasn't able to make it home that night. Instead, Evan found himself in a hospital bed, seriously injured, contemplating surgery, trying to figure out what the future would hold for him. Evan didn't go home that night because a coward had attacked him in our city, firing an illegal handgun at Evan without warning, forcing him to defend himself and the other innocent people who live in that neighborhood. Evan did exactly what he was supposed to do. But in the process, he suffered devastating injuries, which continue to plague him more than 2 years later. Evan's family has been left shaken and scared. They ask how the person that they know and love, the kid who followed his dreams to become a police officer in his hometown and try to make a difference, how could he be the guy who got attacked for no other reason than simply wearing a police uniform? This incident has impacted every facet of Evan's life. Not a day goes by that he and his family aren't forced with some reminder of pain and suffering. They've all had to endure this as a result of this tragedy. It's been a long and very challenging process. They've had bad days with medical setbacks and undergoing unclear prognosis. However, they've also had a few really good days. Like just a month ago, when the defendant who shot Evan was sentenced to 58.5 years to life in prison for the crimes against him and our community. Today, another one of those really great days, a day where I'm honored and grateful to be able to stand up here in front of all of you and recognize what I knew immediately after hearing about what happened on that day. That Evan Barone is an amazing police officer, a hero who put his life on the line in service to the city that he truly loves. Evan did everything right that day, despite the fact that he didn't get to go home that night. We have to celebrate the fact that he eventually did make it home, and that he's been fighting every day since to work his way back to the only career he has ever wanted, being a police officer. Evan, I cannot be prouder of you for everything that you have accomplished for our agency. I want you back. I want you to come back because I need officers like you protecting this community. You still have time, and whatever it is that whenever it is that you're ready to come back, you have my word that I'm here for you. We're all here for you. To your parents, your brother and your fiance, and all the other family members, you have my promise that we will work to do everything possible to try to make sure that Evan and every officer comes home after each shift. We will continue to work together to move our city forward, taking a stand against the evil that attempts to enter our community. We will not fail. We will not give up. We will protect our great city just as we have for the past 135 years. It's what we do, and we will continue to do with outstanding examples of courage and bravery, just like Evan. This concludes our ceremony. I'd like to once again thank Lieutenant Governor Delgado, Commissioner Rosado, Mayor DeStefano, and all of the family and friends that have joined us here today to honor Police Officer Evan Barone.